Greetings, people of YouTube! After I released Squidward Gets Possessed by a Bad Lemon, I noticed some of the comments reflected on the Season 6 joke.
You think I'll let go for a little? Oh, no!
Which reminded me to make this video. Like a great number of fans out there, I feel the comedic powerhouse SpongeBob SquarePants began slipping in quality after the film's release, and in the subsequent seasons, many mediocre and detestable episodes were spawned. From these I have selected 20 of the most abysmal episodes ever to hit the air. As eager as I am to hear what you all have to say, please be constructive if you're going to leave comments. Now without further ado, welcome to the MoBrosStudios Top 20 Worst SpongeBob Episodes. I shouldn't sound this happy about it. Number 20. Waiting. At the beginning of Season 5, Nickelodeon began turning out an onslaught of really brief and uninspired episodes. This was one of them. Basically, SpongeBob sends out a mail order for a free toy and then spends all his time waiting for it to arrive.
I'm waiting! We're waiting!
Needless to say, this is about as entertaining as watching your mailbox for 7 minutes. Not to mention the jokes are about as contrived as the plot.
Send in the box tops? Before eating all the cereal? Gary, you are a genius!
When the toy finally arrives, Patrick seems to break it, which gets our new Gen star's panties in a twist.
You ruined my free toy!
The rest of the episode is them crying until Squidward shows up and fixes the toy. If you thought that was a bad premise for an episode, just wait till you see what's coming up later.
That is my cake. What is a present?
Oh yeah! The fork!
Forks? Come on!
Number 19. Best Day Ever. This was one of those SpongeBob specials that was nothing more than a hyped up ratings trap. Nickelodeon advertised this like it was going to be one of SpongeBob's best episodes ever, with an entire 100-episode long marathon leading up to it. But instead of a clever, worthwhile fiesta we'd expect from the old writers, Best Day Ever turned out to be a series of bland, unfortunate events that feels about as curt as number 20. Though SpongeBob randomly decides to make this particular day his best day ever, nothing on his agenda seems to work out in his favor.
This best day ever isn't going so good. No work, no karate, no jellyfishing.
The most comedy we get out of this episode is the scene where SpongeBob tries to break into Squidward's clarinet recital. Is it at least funny? Not really. It's about as generic as a bad Hanna-Barbera cartoon.
Oh dear, I don't have a ticket, but I want to go to this show. What should I do?
When SpongeBob finally does get inside, we see the recital end as soon as he sits down, causing him to again get his panties in a twist.
This was supposed to be my perfect day, but then everything went down!
You know, it's a time like this where this scene would be appropriate.
We all had dreams.
What makes you so special?
But because SpongeBob accidentally helped his friends during his selfish pursuit, they all decide to do something nice for him, leading up to the wretched song number that kicked off this so-called special.
It's the best day ever!
As cheesy as this sounds, Best Day Ever is one of the worst ever. Number 18. Krusty Dogs. I'm gonna let Petrie sum this one up.
It's boring, boring, very, very boring.
This is one of the only episodes I've watched and felt genuinely bored throughout the entire thing. The story begins with SpongeBob fooling around with leftover Krabby Patty meat and subsequently inventing the Krusty Dog.
This wiener tastes just like a Krabby Patty! Maybe we can add them to the menu!
I'm not impressed.
Neither am I. What's even more impressive is the conflict in this episode. When all the guys in the restaurant start chanting for wieners, Mr. Krabs decides to put Krusty Dogs on the menu. They become so popular that Krabs eventually takes Krabby Patties off the menu. And guess what happens? And then we get a good slow 3 minutes of nothing happening.
SpongeBob! SpongeBob! Wake up!
Where am I? And what are these paramedics doing here?
You're back in your old kitchen. Paramedics are here to revive you.
Krabby Patties off the menu, grill and spatula missing. Why does this ring a bell? Oh yeah, they copied this conflict off of an earlier episode. Anyway, after a couple of lame attempts to get rid of the Krusty Dogs, SpongeBob hides a balloon inside of one and then pops it.
The Krusty Dog is about to explode!
What? Where?
This anticlimax chases the customers away and gets Krabby Patties back on the menu. And that's it.
Very boring.
Number 17. Glove World R.I.P. That's right, nostalgic settings are getting the axe now. Guess they ran out of characters to desecrate. Here SpongeBob and Patrick discover that Glove World is closing down permanently.
The world will be a much better place when Glove World is gone for good!
This episode is a sideshow of cheap jokes and an equally cheap plot, and the first sign of its cheapness is how rapidly they thrust us into this unoriginal scenario. That didn't take long, did it? Establishing characters before putting them into conflict? These writers are higher than that, and I think they actually were high to think this scene was funny.
Ooh, that looks glovely on you, Patrick.
It's like a glove!
Glove size fits all.
A penny saved is a penny gloved!
You can lead a glove to gloves, but you can't make it. Get over
After writing some typical rides with predictable punchlines, SpongeBob gets an idea.
Of course, we just have to fix Glove World.
Of course, this results in our new gen heroes doing what they do best, making everything worse.
Much better.
When their efforts ultimately fail, they decide to chain themselves to the front entrance, where the cheapest part of all takes place, the ending.
The only reason we're closing down Glove World is because Glove Universe is opening tonight. See for yourself.
Wow. Universe?
Of course!
Give me the key.
What key? SpongeBob?
If only they died there. Number 16. To Love a Patty is called paraphilia. This episode is just creepy. SpongeBob ends up making a Krabby Patty in the shape of a woman's head and falls in love with it. Now, it's not like he loves it like an artist loves his work. He actually loves it in a romantic way.
I love crepes. Oh, Patty, when we're together, I feel like we're in our own little world.
I swear, the further we get into this episode, the more it looks like SpongeBob's ready to lay this thing. They put so much focus on this seventh circle plotline that the humor just seems to fall into the background. And when it surfaces, it sounds as phoned in as ever.
Hey, how'd they know? I love grilled shoes.
Oh, but that's not even the worst part. This is.
Oh, baby, they may call me a fool, but I can't help our gravitational pull. When I stop you,
God, I already missed the Best Day Ever song. Nothing like a painfully generic song to match a painfully generic theme.
oh, baby.
After that cesspool they call music, SpongeBob decides to take Patty on a date to the Krusty Krab, where our desperate writers resort to cheap gross-out jokes to get by.
Harold again?
How beautiful do you think this is?
Alright, enough of this. SpongeBob finally realizes Patty's gone bad, so he gets rid of her. If you were trying to gross us out there, it didn't work. We're still disturbed by the fact that he was courting a sandwich. Number 15. Funny Pants. As you may have already guessed, this episode is anything but. What we have here is a totally comedy-based episode that comes off as lame and very, very annoying. In part because SpongeBob won't shut the fuck up. Exactly what was so funny that has him laughing this much?
Another day, another nickel.
Wow, that's not even a joke. Like the audience, Squidward gets quickly fed up with SpongeBob's laughing and scares him into shutting up.
SpongeBob, you've got to be careful. You're going to burn out your laugh box. If you use it too long without giving it a break, it burns out.
And so, SpongeBob encounters a bunch of things that almost make him laugh. each of them being the lamest comic props you can think of. Banana peels, whoopee cushions, and pies. No actual wit here, just basic slapstick. After not laughing for a while, SpongeBob wakes up to find his laugh is gone. Things take a turn for the worst when he fails to get it back, resulting in the even more annoying half of the episode.
I'm sure he'll cry himself out soon.
No. The crying is nowhere close to being done. So Squidward confesses he made up the whole laugh box thing, but guess what? He breaks his laugh box! And SpongeBob ends up giving him part of his. Remarkable twist, isn't it?
No!
Number 14. A Day Without Tears. SpongeBob cries so much in the new series that it's actually no surprise this pointless schlock was made. It opens up with SpongeBob bawling irritatingly over every little mishap.
I stubbed my toe! Ah, that was my favorite shirt!
Sheesh, no wonder the sea level's rising. Squidward gets so sick of SpongeBob's crying that he wagers he can't make it until midnight without shedding a tear.
I bet you can't go the rest of the day without crying.
Like its cousin Funny Pants, this episode is just annoying, though in this case mostly dull. As where Funny Pants at least attempted comedy, the writers of A Day Without Tears were too focused on making the plot as sappy as possible.
I've never seen such a beautiful underwater sunset. Aw, he looks like an angel.
Coming up, an interview with a manatee who didn't get what he wanted for his birthday.
And in truly sad news, the writers of SpongeBob believe this was a good premise for an episode. This is really it, people. Just Squidward trying to make SpongeBob cry all night. And wouldn't you know it, Squidward loses the bet and cries about it. Oh, the sodium-rich irony. Number 13. Slide Whistle Stooges. I believe this episode contains the one sound that's just as, if not more, irritating than SpongeBob's crying. SpongeBob and Patrick decide to annoy Squidward like they usually do, this time using slide whistles. Alright, tell me this doesn't get old pretty damn fast.
Go away!
Squidward eventually decides to give SpongeBob and Patrick a taste of their own medicine, but of course they enjoy it.
You have got quite an ear for music.
Don't you? I do.
It only gets worse from here on in. In a weak twist of plot that doesn't make any sense, the whole town gets pissed off at Squidward and decides to form a lynch mob. Overused gag is overused. Blah blah blah, slide whistle, blah blah blah. And Squidward goes over a cliff in a gasoline truck.
You don't know what you're talking about! You can all go to hell!
Though instead of dying, Squidward ends up hospitalized and we get more ear rape. Huh. Generally annoying people? No, that's worthy of death. Making fun of the sick and dying? That's perfectly okay. Number 12. And now, from the writers behind Best Day Ever, comes the kid-friendly gore-fest of the summer. The Splinter. What begins as a day of generic filler quickly turns to a day of excessive body horror. But then, as opposed to killing him right then and there,
Oh, you really saved me.
and the horror begins.
You have got to go. Oh, that kind of hurts. Come on. Oh, that really hurts.
After that cringing sequence, Squidward peeks into the kitchen to see what's up.
Yeah, when Mr. Krabs finds out, oh man.
Finds out what? I splinter?
He'll be forced to send you home.
Home, but I'm fine.
But then things get worse with the introduction of Dr. Patrick. Instead of making us laugh, he prefers to nauseate us even further.
Buddy, we're gonna make it go away.
Finally, for the climax, Mr. Krabs ends up hearing about the splinter and wants to see it.
Well, what's this about a splinter that Squidward's been telling me all about? All right, boy, let's see it.
That's disgusting.
What do the critics have to say? I, along with many fans, find this episode grotesque and abhorrent. Stay tuned for even greater horrors. Number 11. Squid's Visit. Had enough gore? Well, now we're in for a disturbing dose of psychological horror. One of the major drawbacks to these later episodes is that each character tends to have one overly exaggerated trait, like Patrick's stupidity or Sandy's interest in science. In this case, they chose SpongeBob's unsettling obsession with Squidward. What better pick for the creepiest episode ever made? The story begins with SpongeBob trying to get Squidward to visit him.
How about you come over to my house for a visit tonight?
I will never visit you.
Oh, please, come
Good God, it's like he just tried to ask him out or something. No matter how many times he begs, Squidward refuses to give in. And rather than taking no for an answer, SpongeBob learns of a more underhanded tactic.
Borrow something, and he'll have to come over to get it back.
That's it!
This is where things really start to get creepy. While Squidward's back is turned, SpongeBob steals his vacuum cleaner in order to lure him into the pineapple.
Why have you stolen my vacuum cleaner?
Well, I didn't steal it, silly. I borrowed it.
Are you done cleaning up that dingy hole you call home?
You won't even recognize the place, Squidward.
Yeah, probably not.
But instead of going to the police...
Squidward! I've been expecting you.
It turns out that SpongeBob renovated his entire house to look exactly like Squidward's.
Please make yourself at home.
I'm not sure where the humor is in this episode. The whole time they just keep emphasizing how messed up it is.
He got my coffee table, my vase, snack bowl, coasters, and this pillow looks just like the one Mommy made for me. He even got the chip and the tape from when I moved in.
Okay, this is beyond creepy. This is borderline psychotic. SpongeBob's broken into Squidward's house enough times to memorize every little detail. He went to all this trouble just to get Squidward into his house? What the hell's he thinking? Hardy har har slapstick. Eventually, Squidward manages to restore his depleting sanity and finds his vacuum cleaner. Unfortunately, the minute he steps outside...
What happened to my house?
Oh, some knucklehead left a casserole in the oven.
SpongeBob!
It's times like this when I want to blast that idiotic grin with a 12 gauge.
You're more than welcome to stay at my house until you get your house fixed.
What the hell?
Squidward?
Shut up!
At least Squidward ends up sleeping soundly in his replica. Or does he?